back to our topic. So it looks like you got the blog pulled up, Jordan. So share with us, what are some to-dos to help this virtual communication between staff and their employers?
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, less than 30% of business leaders truly feel that their business is ready for remote work. That goes to show you that, almost two-thirds, more than two-thirds of businesses out there don't feel that they're in a position to successfully allow their employees to work remotely. I mean, think about how many small businesses we're talking about that are affected by this. And less than 10% of those businesses' employees actually believe that their leadership is equipped to handle a remote workforce. So the trust in the employees is lacking. And then less than 40% of remote workers have ever even received productivity training, tips and trends on what is the best way to work remotely and how to be as productive as possible while still working from a remote location. And so I'm glad that you asked the question, because you really first have to just start with the basics. You have to make sure that you have the ability to, if you're in a position where you're working on a computer, you need to be able to have a workstation in your home office or a laptop that you can use, while working from home. That's the first step. Do you have a laptop? Do you have a device that allows you to even come close to doing your job? And if you do, that's great. That's the first step. But do you have a remote connection software or some sort of tool that you can use to remote into your typical day-to-day work environment so that you can pick up where you left off as if nothing's changed other than you're sitting in a different chair? And that's what you really want, especially for people who aren't used to working remotely. The best way is to just give them full access to their normal environment so that nothing has to change and they don't have to skip a beat when it comes to productivity. Obviously, sometimes a laptop is hard by itself to be really productive. So making sure that you have, a workstation that makes sense for what you do. Do you have monitors in place? Do you have all the cables that you need, to set up your workstation so that you're in a comfortable position to be productive and work productively? And then also, making sure you're able to communicate with not only your employees, your coworkers, but also your clients, is going to be a huge step, again, to make sure that you can continue working your day-to-day business as usual, just as if you were at the office.
Right. Yeah. Kind of alleviate any of that pressure of that transition, because it's going to be a big transition for sure, especially for some specific industries who just aren't quite used to that virtual connection between their staff.